They called him a radical. They called him dangerous. But Patrice Lumumba was just a man who dared to dream of a free Congo. On June 30th, 1960, the Congo broke free from Belgium's iron grip. And at the heart of that liberation stood Lumumba, charismatic, fierce, unapologetically African. But freedom came with a price. As Lumumba sought to unify a nation torn apart by colonialism, shadows loomed on the horizon. The world watched as alliances formed and fractured and trust began to erode. In a nation yearning for direction, Patrice faced mounting challenges as external pressures and internal divisions threatened to shatter his dreams. With hope and resolve, he pressed on, determined to forge a path toward true independence. Despite his efforts, the path grew perilous. Betrayal lurked behind every corner. Yet Lumumba remained steadfast, believing that the spirit of the Congolese people would ultimately prevail. Within weeks of independence, chaos erupted, tribal divisions flared, the army mutinied, foreign powers moved in, and Patrice Lumumba became the #1 enemy, not just of his rivals, but of the West. The CIA called him a threat to democracy. Belgium called him a destabilizer. But what they really feared was his voice, a voice that refused to bow, a voice that spoke to millions of black people across Africa and beyond. We are not your slaves. We will not serve. As Lumumba's message spread, he became a beacon of hope for those yearning for freedom and justice. The gathering storm of political intrigue swirled around him as allies and enemies alike plotted their moves. He stood firm, unyielding in his commitment to liberation, knowing that the stakes were higher than ever before. His words inspired countless souls across the continent, echoing in the hearts of those who had been silenced for too long. This was not just a fight for a nation, it was a fight for dignity and identity. With every speech, Lumumba ignited a passion that united tribes and communities despite the looming threats against him. The West watched anxiously as his popularity surged, fearing the ripple effects across colonial territories. Diplomatic talks took a darker turn as foreign powers sought to undermine his authority, labeling him as a radical instead of a revolutionary. But Lumumba remained resolute, embodying the hopes of a new generation eager to break free from the chains of oppression and assert their rightful place in history. No trial, no press, just a firing squad in a remote forest, 3 bullets to the chest. His body was hacked into pieces, dissolved in acid, burned beyond recognition. Why? So no grave could exist, so no shrine could rise, so the world would forget. But the truth doesn't burn so easily. Decades later, a Belgian officer confessed. The CIA admitted involvement. Even the UN stayed silent when they knew. This wasn't just an assassination, it was a political execution, planned by world powers who feared a black man's voice more than his army. And now history is speaking, and we are listening. Patrice Lumumba didn't die for nothing. He was silent.